Gerrett Stier. Gerrett, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. How are you
Well,
doing,
you
Jeff?
have a name. You have a name where you might get them both wrong because it looks like it's spelled Garrett.
Yes. It starts with a G, but pronounced with a J. Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you've listened to the podcast. I even have a couple guests that don't have my name correct on the podcast, but I've been answering to Gerrett Stier for so long that yeah, if you get close to Gerrett, I'll
You'll still
answer.
answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Well, I hope you're doing well. You're up in Washington.
Yep, just outside Seattle in Kirkland. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this morning I woke up to some news on the TV about this thing called a murder hornet. And uh, are you familiar with the murder?
I just heard about them this morning, but I don't have a lot of information because it was more I was kind of coming out of the bathroom. My wife goes, "Did you hear about the murder hornets?" And I go, "The what?" And she goes, "Murder hornets." And I was like, "No, I haven't." And then I went downstairs and now I've been in my office. So uh
Okay.
very limited knowledge of murder hornet. Yeah, what is happening?
Because according to what I saw on the news, they're like a 2-inch hornet they're mean, and I
Okay.
believe they're like, at least there's some in Japan. Maybe they're from there. I'm not sure, but one sting can kill a person.
Oh
It
gosh.
says a couple is likely. I don't know. It's crazy, but here's the thing. From what I understand, they're like up in the Northwest where you are. That's
Per-
where they've seen a few.
Perfect. That's great.
So be careful out there when something's buzzing around you. Yeah,
Let's say yeah, that'll make the afternoon jogs a little more interesting with murder hornets out.
I doubt if you can outrun them. Yeah,
I'll take a with a tennis racket with me.
that'll probably work. Yeah. Well, listen, Jared, I wanted to talk about a couple things. We'll get into your product at the end of the segment. I want to hear about what you're
Sure.
doing with your power boxes, but there's something I want to. I think you've seen this right there.
I I've seen it. Yes.
I think you have a lot of people watching it or listening to it. It's the GMS podcast. I want to talk about that. It's pretty cool. Of course, it's got the same hat you have on right now.
Yeah.
On the
Well, this
picture.
is our podcast hat, and I don't know if we can. Let me pull this. Is it this side or this
I can
side?
see it.
This side. The little
Okay.
logo there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
very
our
nice.
podcast hat.
And that must be a picture of you in there as well, or an
I
illustration
tr- I
of your.
tried. Is that is that right?
No, it's cool. So tell us how you got started with this podcast. Which in today's world, people don't think of podcasts; they think of video, like we're doing now. But
Yeah.
how do you get started?
So I guess for me, I'm always trying to think of kind of new things to do and ways to market or at least talk about our products or talk about our story or GMS in general. I knew I was going to be making the move from Indiana to Seattle, so a lot of the ideas behind it were, I need to find ways to market but also being remote. So,
Yeah.
what kind of options do I have there? I can't go in the shop and take pictures anymore, because I'm not at the shop anymore. So that was one of the ideas behind. It's like, well, the podcast. I do a lot of traveling already. I meet with a lot of people, and that could be one way to incorporate just another message, another level, another awareness to GMS and what we do, what we're about, and yeah, it was basically. Brainstormed out of this move from Fort Wayne to Seattle.
No, that it's cool. So when you did your first podcast to the ones you're doing now, are they any
Yeah,
different?
there. I'm a little. I think so. I think if you go back and listen to the first one to the ones now, yeah, they're probably a little different. I'm a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's funny when you start, and I'm sure you've seen it because you do video and editing. I'll edit a podcast and then I'll go at the end of it. I'll go, wow, you said awesome a lot. Stop saying awesome so much. And then the next time it's, you always find like the next thing. I know that there was one podcast where I think I said, you know what I find really interesting? I think I said it about 10 times in one podcast. And it's so you start to catch those kinds of things. But I
Yeah.
think it ultimately, makes you better. Yeah, definitely learning from the podcast, and you with your interviewing and your skills, what kind of questions to ask. Follow-up questions are big. That was something I learned from the first one. I had a list of questions or things that I wanted to talk about, and we just kind of punched through them real quick. Now I think I spend more time on one topic and asking those follow-up questions to get more information.
Yeah, exactly. I know today we don't have any questions to talk about. We're just talking. So
We're just talking, we're
yeah,
hanging out.
yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I've listened to some of your podcasts. I've put some on our Twitter feed.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah,
saw that.
it's cool to see you doing that, and some topics that you've been doing. Obviously, a variety of things. And I asked you one. I think it was in Vegas at dinner. We had dinner once.
Yes,
If your podcast was about promoting your product, because you named it GMS, which is your company that makes your power boxes, and you said
correct.
no, it's not about that. So
It's not, I mean, they come up once in a while, but it's not, no, it's not, it's definitely not GMS focused. It's not even Gerrett, myself focused, which GMS is my initial. So, you can play that, is
mhm.
it a power box company or is it's still just me, GMS, doing something different? But, it really is, I thought it would be cool because of the kind of the amount of contacts and the just how broad they are. I'm a manufacturer of equipment for the restoration company, but through the years at being at trade shows, I have a lot of other friends that are in the industry that are manufacturers. So I have that aspect that of people that I can talk to, other manufacturers in this industry. We also have distribution through some major distribution networks and great sales reps that I work with. So, like Ron Calling was on the podcast, the product manager for Ramsco. So, I have contacts in that area as well. Plus then my customers, plus the restoration contractors. And then you have some educators and teachers in schools. And so for me, I know a lot of people on a lot of different areas in the restoration market. It isn't just restoration contractors. I know people from, it's very broad. So I thought that was what kind of made me unique and me interesting to the contacts that I had, and what I thought would make the podcast unique in all of the areas of things that we can cover in the industry, from going behind the scenes to what people are actually doing right now, and everything in
Yeah.
between.
Well, and you're easy to talk to, so that makes it a little easier
And I mean,
to do the podcast. Yeah.
I
So
do like talking to people. Yeah.
that's important. That's important. No, you're right. We're in an industry where it's kind of big, but it's not.
Right.
If you go to the trade shows and you get to know people and interact, network, you discover that you can learn who everybody is. There's a
And
couple
that's kind of,
podcasts. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, that's kind of, I think that's where me and you really started to form our relationship, was through
Mhm.
trade shows and
Yeah.
seeing each other there. And we did a video in your booth at one of them. I can't recall which one it was, but I know, that's where me and you have really became friends, is seeing each other at the trade show.
I think that was the experience in maybe Atlanta or Clearwater Beach. I think it was one of the
It was
East Coast.
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was Atlanta.
Very good. So here, let me ask you this. There's a couple podcasts that caught my eye. I want to hear just a quick synopsis of what they were about.
Okay.
One of them was We Clean Rockets.
We clean
I've
rockets.
never cleaned a rocket. What was that about?
We clean rockets. That was Tom McGuire. Well, and I guess with naming the shows, I always try to pull some piece out of what we're talking about, and name the show. So We Clean Rockets was Tom McGuire. He has the Large Loss Mastery course, and the one thing that, if you listen to podcasts, I can't stop talking about it. It's so intriguing about Tom is he puts on a class, he puts on a course, but he takes you to the structure that he wants to teach you with. So Tom's going to, like, the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. He's going to Caesar's Palace, and he's going to Nassau. He's going to I'm probably not calling it correct, but wherever they launch rockets, he had access to that facility and does his class and teaches his class out of these facilities. So one of the scenarios that he came up with was that this facility caught fire, and now there's soot on the rockets, and we have to clean them.
So it's
We have
real.
to clean rockets.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a real scenario that he thought up, and I'm excited to go back, because Tom has now invited me, when they go to that facility again. I think it's this, with COVID, it might be changing, but when he goes back to that facility to do another class, he's invited me, and we're recording a podcast next to the rockets.
Okay. Be
Yeah,
sure to
yeah.
send me that link.
I'm
There's
really
another,
excited.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great thing to do. It's unique for sure. Uh,
Yeah,
the second one that caught my eye I wanted to hear about was the best Lego castle.
the
Now you
best
don't clean Legos. I don't know. What's that about?
the best Lego castle. That was with Corey Capus. I went to he was doing some training for Serve Pro in Vegas. I flew into Vegas to meet Corey, hang out with him, hang out with his team, and Corey. If you do you know Corey Capus?
Doesn't ring a bell. Doesn't
So
mean I don't know him.
he's with the large loss with Serve Pro's team. Uh, an amazing guy, but everything he does is the best. He does everything the best. He gives 110% at everything. He expects perfection. Um, he's amazing. If you find him, I encourage you, go follow him online.
Okay.
He does post quite a bit, but everything he posts, he's one of those guys that you want to read it. Like, you hope Corey posts something because it's going to be good and it's going to inspire
That's
you.
what
And
matters. You bet.
he's great. He's outstanding. The best Lego castle was from a story where he was talking about his childhood, and he said, I think if I recall it right, he didn't want to build, like, he didn't play with Legos. He built the best Lego castle. like, like all of us, we just kind of play with our toys. Corey was, even then, at a kid, he was building the best Lego castle out of his Legos, not just playing
Not
with
a
toys.
house.
So that was no the best Lego castle.
Yeah, I think
But
I might have put
great guy.
together.
Look him up. He's
All right,
he's awesome.
we'll do. I think in my childhood I might have built a model car or something, but no Lego castle for me.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, Jared, last thing I want to talk about is just to get to know your product a little bit. You make a power box. That's kind of unique in our industry, I believe.
It's I think maybe mine's unique. The idea of power distribution has
Mhm.
been around for a very long time, but kind of what we did and what I did, power distribution, falls into so many different markets, mainly construction and large commercial, and anywhere we need to get power to a lot of people who are working with big tools or that kind of thing. With ours, we really kind of fell into this niche, fell into this market, but really just focused on the restoration contractor and what his exact needs were, and built our products around that. So you're going to see our products are small, they're lightweight, they come in a bag, they come in a kit. We include all of the adapters that you need, in that kit for the job that you're on. So we really just put it together for the restoration contractor. And then I used my electrical experience. So I was a journeyman electrician for 10 years before I started making power distribution equipment, but really kind of saw some of the flaws in the equipment that was out right now as far as a safety aspect.
Mhm.
With a lot of the power distribution is made out of metal, but we're going into homes that have older 3-wire adapters. So basically what we're doing is we're plugging in a metal power box into a electrical system that doesn't have a ground. That's not a very good idea. So we
Right.
saw that as a pretty big potential problem, made our power boxes out of plastic, made them GFI protected, put a main breaker on them, and really set them up to protect the user so that the user doesn't have to have a lot of electrical knowledge. But it's like we did that. We took the knowledge that we had, put it into our equipment, and now when the contractor uses it, he's safe no matter what he plugs into.
User friendly is a good thing,
Very, yes. Yeah.
especially when I've been shocked a time or two, and it's not a good thing.
Not fun, is it? Okay.
So, Jarrett, you have a new project, I think, something that's coming out recently.
We're
That's
working
coming
on
out.
some, yes, we're working on a new project. Basically we put, well, let's see. So if we start where uh, our products rely on a 220-volt electrical plug to power our unit. So you have to have, we're looking at either the dryer plug or the range plug in
Okay.
in
Yeah.
a, in a residence. Some residents do not have electric; they have gas appliances. So in those cases where you have a gas appliance, there isn't anywhere to plug the power box into. In this case, typically we get an electrician. Electrician will come to the job and he will wire the power box into the panel. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And some ways, basically, I posted even a picture of myself doing it online, and got some harsh feedback from some people about, is
Mhm.
that safe, liability, these kinds of things. So at that point, I met with my electrical inspectors in Fort Wayne and said, here's our problem. What should we do so that we meet code and we keep everyone safe? And their suggestion was to install a 220 plug, basically install a dryer plug right underneath the panel. So now the electrician comes, installs a plug, and you plug your equipment into that. Everything meets code. There isn't anything wiring into the face of the panel. There's a lot of again, safety. It's safer to do it that way. So what we're doing is basically putting the kit together, all of the parts you need to install this 220 plug right underneath the panel. So we're going to have the plug, the cover, the cut-in box, the wire, the Romex connector, the breaker, everything you need. So now when you need to hook up a power box and you have gas appliances, when your electrician comes, you just hand him this pack. He opens it up. He has all the pieces he needs. He installs it right there on the job. He doesn't have to run to the supply house to get anything, if it's not in his truck. He has everything right there. And then once he has it installed, you can go right back to our website and we have that same kit. We'll ship it to you. You put it back in your power box kit and you have it there for the next time.
Well, that's cool. So when's that coming out? Or is it out?
It's not out right now. We've ordered the material. We should start packaging them this week. And we'll probably see them on the website next week. So yes, this is the first time I've talked about it. So this is kind of exciting. Yeah.
This is breaking news.
This is breaking news. We haven't talked about it at all. So we are hopefully packaging them this week, and then we should see them. I'll put a post on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and start getting that word out there next week. And it should be on the website available.
We're talking right now. It's May 4th. So
May 4th, yes.
Those that watch this know the week that we're talking about. So coming soon.
Coming soon. Absolutely.
Right. Well, Gerrett, I appreciate your time. And finally, I'll give you this advice. Watch out for the murder hornets.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Always good talking to you. Always good.
See you at a future event.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.